307 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 5 p.m. on the 30th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Martin Daubney, weekdays from 3 p.m.
Sarah, welcome to the show. Obviously, you work for a tobacco company, so a little caveat there to slip in. Nevertheless, it's no surprise that the illegal market is growing so much. When you look at the cost of cigarettes in Britain, huge amounts of duty and oftentimes, of course, criminality always finds its way into the system. Tell us more about your report.
Absolutely. I mean, up to 90% of a packet of cigarettes is tax. And in the last year, there's been 2 tax increases that have equated more to the last 3 years combined. So now, if you're a roll-your-own smoker, a 30-gram pouch of roll-your-own will cost £22.50, but you can buy a counterfeit pack of 50 grams for £3. So there's a massive disparity. A lot of illegal tobacco is imported, but we do also have a problem in the UK with illegal tobacco factories. So in the last month, there's been an illegal tobacco factory in Gateshead, in Bury, busted, producing roll-your-own tobacco. And on the 12th of July this month, West Midlands gang illegal tobacco factory, the gang was found guilty of producing illegal tobacco, and that was more than £5 million lost tax revenue to the government. And actually, all of those people found guilty got a suspended sentence.
And how does that work? They're literally importing container loads of raw tobacco and packaging it up in factories in Britain, and they're using what appears to be British packaging illegally?
Yeah, some of it is branded packaging, so some of it isn't the kind of unbranded packaging we'd see on cigarettes and roll-your-own now, but it's relatively simple to reproduce, especially RYO. Our own pack swap data now shows that about 50% of the roll-your-own market is illegal tobacco.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Very good evening to you. It's just after 11 o'clock and the top stories from the newsroom. The parents of BB King, one of 3 young girls who were killed in the Southport stabbings, have described her today as full of joy, of light and love. They've also revealed her older sister saw the attack at last Monday's dance class, but she managed to escape. Well, that comes as anti-racism demonstrators have been taking to the streets of London today, countering now almost 2 weeks of anti-immigration protests and riots across England. That's after misinformation about the Southport suspect sparked a wave of often violent riots in recent days. In the capital, thousands of campaigners carried signs supporting refugees and opposing racism and Islamophobia. Authorities say they do hope the violence is now subsiding, but thousands of specialist officers are still on the streets this weekend. And that's as more than now 740 people have been arrested over those riots, including a 16-year-old boy who's admitted to stealing £19,000 worth of vapes during unrest in Liverpool. A court heard how he was seen on CCTV with a group who pulled a police officer off of his bike before attacking him. The teenager later used an e-scooter to ram a shop window and help himself to the e-cigarettes. He'll be sentenced next month. In other news, a 32-year-old man has been charged today over a shooting in East London in May, which left a 9-year-old girl seriously injured. She is still in hospital, but in a stable condition after the attack at a restaurant in the east of the capital. Javon Riley from Farnborough appeared in court this morning, accused of 4 counts of attempted murder, and he's been remanded in custody and is set to appear at the Old Bailey next month. The Foreign Secretary says he's appalled by an Israeli airstrike on a school that was sheltering displaced Palestinians in central Gaza. According to the Gazan Health Ministry, at least 80 people were killed in that strike, though Israel has disputed the claim. Instead, they say forces were targeting a Hamas command centre at the complex. David Lammy's calling for an immediate ceasefire in the region, while the EU's foreign policy chief has condemned what he's called the massacre. And Team GB have added 6 more medals to their total on the penultimate day of the Paris Olympics tonight. There were 2 silvers, one for Caden Cunningham in the taekwondo, and the other was historic as Kate Shortman and Izzy Thorpe won Great Britain's first ever prize in artistic swimming at the Games. 3 bronze medals came in the athletics, with Georgia Bell finishing 3rd in the women's 1,500 metres, followed by the men's and the women's lineups in the 4x400 metre relays. And earlier, diver Noah Williams also claimed bronze in his men's 10-metre platform final. Those are the latest GB News headlines for now. I'm Sam Francis. Your next update from the newsroom at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Now, though, it's time for Headliners.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
Hello and welcome to Headliners, your first look at Sunday's top stories with 3 comedians. I'm Stephen Allen, and tonight I'm joined by the newest comedian, Adam Kumas, in terms of how many times he's been doing the show, and the oldest comedian, Louis Schaefer. Not in those terms. Are you doing all right?
Yes, great, thank you.
Well, I've been around for a long time too now. I think I've been around for 2...
Well, you didn't join at the start when many of us did from the start. You were a later addition, and what a welcomed addition some people say you are.
But you don't say that I am.
Well, I've said those words.
We've all said things about you.
But you have to. I think Ofcom forces you to say those words.
Yeah. But no, I don't think Ofcom's got any remit of balance about you. You're one of the few things that we're definitely allowed to be all one-sided on.
I think Ofcom wants to stay away from me. That's my feeling.
Yeah.
But, they don't want to be bothered.
As do I.
Just go start the show already.
No, I've got to check with Adam. All good?
Yes, all good, thank you.
Looking forward to whatever mess this could turn into?
It's going to be a mess.
Yep. Right, that's the chit-chat done. Let's take a look at your front pages. The Sunday Telegraph goes with schools to wage war on putrid fake news. More on that one later. Mail on Sunday, security chiefs, PM kept in dark by aide Sue Gray. The Observer goes with riots will set back efforts to rebuild our broken justice system, warns Minister. The Eye says Reeves eyes fuel duty hike in budget, but voters are opposed. Yep. The Sunday Times, writers face 10-year terms, warns CPS boss. And the Star on Sunday, I saw the ghost of Lemmy riding a horse and eating a pizza. And those are your front pages. Adam, we start with the Mail on Sunday. What they got for us?
Yes, so this is for Mail on Sunday, and it says, security chiefs, PM kept in dark by aide Sue Gray. So this is Starmer's chief of staff accused of thinking she runs Britain, as the MOS is told she's blocked top-level briefings. This is a very interesting and funny story because it basically, what it boils down to is people are worried within government that Keir Starmer is not getting essential updates about the state of the country. And this is obviously very important, very prevalent, considering the riots we've had in the last few days. She's essentially acting like a prefect or a teacher's pet, saying, no, tell me. And people are concerned, saying, well, actually, is he actually getting the important updates that he needs? So,
because I read it and I was thinking more like a doctor's receptionist, that vibe.
Right, yeah.
Bat away as many as possible.
Forget about getting an appointment, forget about informing Keir of what's going on with the country.
Yeah.
But
very much
we don't know what the real story is. Whenever you see a story like this, you don't know what's behind the scenes. It could just be a very simple thing that Sue Gray is upset with this guy named McSweeney, and McSweeney ratted on her, and they're all afraid. This is the way it is in politics. It's also like saying, like, if only Hitler knew. If only he knew what was going on.
Oh, going to Hitler, how long?
It's a new personal best.
Yeah.
I don't. You know what it is? I thought to myself, I don't care. Is that that's what they're saying? Is that Starmer needs to know he's not being told? That's why he's not doing the best job. Let Starmer be Starmer, and that's why people are turning on him. Not that the fact that he's an authoritarian, Hitler-like type guy. He was putting
Twice.
Twice. He's a communist. He was in the Czech Republic.
He's a communist like Hitler.
Yeah. Well,
right.
Hitler was a communist.
Just
in his
because they had
own
the
way.
word socialist in the past. That's
they
not
just-
that old classic online thing.
No.
Is there a chance that this is just Keir Starmer using this as a great excuse? I would, but no, Sue Gray, she says I can't come out to play.
I would love that.
That's also part of it. At the end of the day, you are totally right. We have no idea what the truth is. There's some kind of weird games going on, and we're not there.
Because we're not allowed to.
Yeah.
Because of Sue Gray.
Yeah.
Lewis, to The Observer, what have they got?
The Observer, riots will just set back efforts to rebuild our broken system, warns Minister. This is this woman. She's a devout Muslim. Am I allowed to say that? Her name is Shabana Mahood. She's a woman. She's 43 years old, very beautiful. And she lives in, am I allowed to say that? I don't even know about to say she's beautiful. And she's the Justice Secretary. And she says, because...
You can't even say Christmas these days.
Because the last show we did, I said she's a very pretty girl. I didn't mean it as, like, you know, she's a
You
pretty...
got away with it. No one's...
Yeah,
you're
because
back.
I'm so old. Everybody's a girl to me. Anyway, the truth is, has been because... she's saying because there's been hundreds... This is her, what do they call that, when she's looking for a way out of the tough situation they're in. Here's her excuse why she can't improve the
we can't reform the justice system because of the riots.
So many white people. We can't improve it. Okay, and she's blaming the conservatives.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great sort of pass the buck. I mean, I'd love to hear what sort of Sue Gray has to say about this. I think she'd be really good. I don't know. Like, I think it's nice. It's getting a quick win in, sort of saying, right, by the way, this is going to affect us actually getting some proper work done. I don't know. Maybe there's some legitimacy in this, saying that, you know, if there's an influx of people now being arrested for the riots recently, this is going to delay efforts. But I think just making it official news just seems a bit of a cop-out, just like just do your job.
That's what they do. The other one said there was a $22 billion hole in the budget. That's why we can't do this. And this is what they do when they're elected. They say, oh my God, they left us with even less money than we thought in this thing.
What's really interesting, I feel like, because when you work in an office and you've got deadlines to meet and your manager's saying this, if something bad happens in the office, you're never allowed to say, well, this will affect my work directly. You're just supposed to suck it up and continue and deliver to deadlines. This is it's only politics that they seem to say anything that happens can be used as an excuse for the reason why we're not going to deliver on what we've promised.
Was that a humble brag that you've had a job?
Is that an office job? I know.
It
really shows.
Back in the day.
I felt my heart like better. Like,
do you not think that? I mean, there is, because we had the story of there's so many delays in the courts, and then it's a year's worth of delays, and then somehow it turns out they can get people processed over the weekend, and a lot of the narrative's been like, oh, if you can do it for them, why can't you do it for everyone? And actually, it's the opposite. By doing it for them, these delays are going to get even worse.
Yes.
All the people who would have been processing the backlog have now been brought in on this.
Yeah.
How about because we're doing it in a night, in a few hours, we're basically throwing out the justice system by saying, well, these people are probably not getting their free right.
Well, at the moment, these are all ones who've pleaded guilty, so you don't have the trials yet.
Yeah.
So the trials would be the fair.
So they're pled guilty
when it's obvious. Yeah.
When it's obvious.
Like that kid who stole
even in America that doesn't
vaping products
like that.
Adam, we can look at the Sunday Telegraph, please. What have they got?
Yes, so this is a story from the Sunday Telegraph. NHS staff ask men if they are pregnant before X-ray scans. Now, before gawking at this story, it is kind of interesting. This basically stems from radiographers at multiple hospitals have been told they must check whether all patients aged 12 to 55 are pregnant regardless of their sex. And this has basically been born out of a particular case where a transgender man was basically not asked, and this caused complications. So now they've sort of like overcorrected, and they've said, right, doesn't matter regardless of what they look like, if it's obvious or not, ask everyone if they're pregnant. And this unfortunately has led to people getting frustrated. It's upset both men and women, biological men and women, people who are seeking cancer treatment saying, why are you asking me if I'm pregnant? I'm about to die. And there's also been reports of women who've ended up being sort of in tears and crying because they're being prodded because they're sort of barren, and it's basically bringing up sort of unnecessary memories. This is when a good intentioned policy is done in absolutely the wrong way, and I think we do well if we reverted back to common sense.
You can't revert back. You revert to common sense.
That's very good. Yeah,
tautology slam this early.
That's very good. Very, very, very good.
I can't wait for the grammatical correction later.
This is because you're sitting in the outsider seat, isn't it?
Yeah, because you said before the show started, you're put there because you were better than me.
Just to drag us back to the story, the guy who's on the fast-track cancer check stormed out without getting the test. I don't know, if I was that urgent to get a cancer test, I'd answer a few dumb questions. I think you could ask me some stupid things about, where do I get my hair cut?
Are you pregnant, though?
Am I pregnant? Exactly. Do you know what? No. Look at that, how easy it was. Now give me the damn test.
No, but the thing is, we've been all they have to do is say, even I would say that I think you have to sometimes ask men if they're pregnant, because there are men now, whatever you want, that they think that they're men, and they,
You're trying to be politically correct, but you're putting it in quotes quite a lot.
Yeah, because you have to. I don't want people to hate me. I'm not like you. I don't want people to hate you.
I don't think you need to ask at all. You just say, here's an X-ray that you can't have if you're pregnant, and then you crack on. And the responsibility is on the person to go, oh, sorry, then I can't have it.
I don't think that you don't understand how hospitals work.
Yeah, you're there all the time. Of course you are.
Yeah, what they could do is there's a nice way of saying this, and we've got rules and regulations. We've got to ask these questions. We ask everyone these questions. Are you a man? No. Yeah. And then you laugh.
Well, every time you go to the dentist, you have to tick the box, could you be pregnant? Just because it's the general form. And every time you go to the dentist, you have to fill the whole form in. So I don't get upset about it, but because it's the way... Anyway, finally, Lewis, better crack on and take a look at the Daily Star Sunday. What news they bring?
I saw the ghost of Lemmy. That's not Lenny, Lemmy. He's the guy from Motorhead. He was the guy who had the boil at his face. It was like totally gross. And that came from probably drinking too much. And he was like, I'm not going to say he was drunk, but he seemed like one on the TV. Anyway, I saw the ghost of Lemmy riding a horse and eating a pizza. What makes this news? They because he died last year. They scattered his. They were at a music festival. This whacking heavy metal music festival, which is the largest open air music festival in the world. Did you know that?
No,
I didn't know it either. I don't care because I don't.
It was related to the story, to be honest.
I don't like it. So there was this woman named Brocard, who's a singer or something, and they had a séance for him. So this is levels of unreality mounted on reality.
Yeah, I was going to say, surely the news here is that ghosts exist.
And they don't. So I will be refusing to participate in the story.
But it also says that horses and pizza exist.
I presumed it would be a ghost horse and also a ghost pizza, which is bigger news.
Yeah.
Pizzas have souls?
If ghost of Lemmy riding
Yeah, you see, because there's no way, because unless you have a corporeal form, you can't eat a real pizza. It's a ghost pizzas, that's the main headline there.
With you, Steve, you're too good for this show.
Well, that's the end of part one. Coming up in part two, riot news, just for a change. And Starmer is less popular than he used to be, so basically more riot news. We'll see you shortly.
GB News Breakfast. Every day from 6 a.m.
Did you ever flirt with the idea of going to America?
Yeah, I've twice happened to be. Once I was offered in Canada the job of a weatherman.
Oh.
Yeah, I was offered that. And I just sort of thought of it, what is the point where your mother, your father would never see you on TV? What's the point of doing it if nobody knows you on it, you know? So I thought...
Big money, though, even for a weatherman.
I did, yeah, it was more than a weather job, but I said no, basically. And then I went and I did this quiz show for Fox TV.
Oh.
Yeah, they said, we want the Irish guy that does the lottery. I think they meant Dermot O'Leary or something. They ended up, they got me and I couldn't believe it. And I went over to do a daytime version of this. And then 3 days into it, they changed everything and they said, this is so good, we're putting this out in the evening. And I remember phoning my wife and saying, we're going to have to move out to California.
Oh, wow.
They really want me here. And I'm going down, you know that street with all the palm trees and whatever. That's the way I was going to work, in this limo and whatever. And I had a bungalow there and a golf cart. It was absolutely incredible. Anyway, I'll cut this very long story short. So I'm working really, really bad. A lot of very ignorant people, it has to be said. And really have one regret in my life that I didn't punch a guy when I was out there. I really would have, if I had my life to live again, I would have really satisfiedly been sacked for punching this git. But basically, anyway, they put the show out. One episode of the show went out and it came fourth in its rating. So it was behind Lost, it was behind The Biggest Loser, there was something else there.
Fair enough.
Fair enough, and it came fourth, and that was it. It disappeared. 36 shows or so disappeared. Disappeared, never to be shown again.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Good afternoon, Britain.
Your lunchtime update on the stories that matter across the UK.
From breaking news and insightful analysis, inspiring stories and lively debates. You're comparing yourself to a former Prime Minister.
Which is it? Stay informed, stay updated, stay entertained.
I just don't know how anyone would not want to be there.
Every weekday from midday.
We are Good Afternoon Britain, only on GB News.
Britain's news channel.
Welcome to State of the Nation, daily plunge into the stories shaping our country. I'm Jacob Rees-Mogg, and Monday to Thursday we bring you the insights, the facts, the truth about how our country is being governed. Because what happens in Downing Street matters down your street. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Headliners. I'm Stephen Allen, still joined by Adam Kumas and Lewis Schaefer. And Adam, the Sunday Times. First there were protests, and now there are anti-protest protests. I see how this could escalate.
Oh, yeah, no, I can't wait for the anti-protest protests. They're going to be following. Yeah, this is from the Sunday Times. Thousands on street in show of defiance against far right. So thousands of anti-racism protesters have taken to the streets around Britain to face down the far right in largely peaceful demonstrations. There's that catchphrase, largely peaceful. Basically, we had a lot of riots recently. A lot of people were blaming the far right for it, and now we've had a lot of people coming out to sort of support unity and chanting slogans like Nazi scum off our streets and things like that. You know, really getting into the nuance of it, and people wearing love, choose love, and, you know, being arrested for violent acts. You know, I don't know. I think if you look at it, there's parts of it like there's people acting in bad faith on both sides, I think, and I think that's been across all of the protests, even the sort of Palestine protests we've seen. I think the best of both. I think we should be trying to, as sort of balance, trying to condemn violence in both sides, from whether the right and from the left. Yep, condemn violence. That's a good one list. And I think the idea of coming together as a unity, you know, is working together is nice, but I don't know if this is really everyone working together. I think it's just seeing two sides sort of hitting off each other.
You know what? You hit the nail on the head. There can be no unity. There's two sides.
Yeah.
There's two sides to this. And for the Times to call these people far right is horrific. These are people who just don't want mass immigration to their country. That doesn't make them... Some of them are horrible, but they should be respected.
Which people do you think the Times are calling far right?
Thousands of defiance against the far right.
No, because you said if it's wrong for the Times to call them far right. So which people do you think the Times
it should be in quotation marks or whatever you call it.
No, but still, the question: which people do you think? Do you think it's the people going on a protest against immigration,
against the far right?
Do you think it's people? Do you think it's people setting fire to a mosque?
Nice people around the street.
It's both, I think.
Far right. When it should be nice people, possibly nice people, maybe nice people.
Exactly. So they shouldn't call people on a protest far right.
No.
But if that protest also includes
they weren't
someone
calling the people in the protest the far right. They're saying these people who are anti-racist, which is also an offensive thing. You know, what does that mean, anti-racist?
Not racist, I think.
You know, I mean, I can say this stuff because I don't care about being arrested. But this country's now flipped over. I know, you know what it is. I think it's dangerous talk when you say that when you're against mass immigration, you're automatically a member of the far right.
And do you think that's what the Times done?
It's saying yes, it is, because yes, it is. It's saying these people who, yes, it is. Not against people throwing stones. They're against, even if they were meeting peaceably. Look at how many we have and how many of you.
Unless you're throwing stones in another country where it's considered normal, then that's a good. That's
this is Britain. We don't.
And also the guy who was wearing a Choose Love T-shirt getting arrested. I think we can all agree that's the wrong T-shirt to wear when you get sent to prison.
Yeah.
Just, you know, ill-advised.
Oh, yes.
Lewis, the Sunday Telegraph now, and police are looking at social media for their job. I have to sneak to the loo with my phone to do that.
Yes, thank you. Specialist police hunt social media influencers who incite riots online. When I read this, I thought to myself, socialist police. And then I said, no, specialist police. I mean, the truth is that this country needs somebody to look after the government. They're going they're going way too far. Is a crime committed? If a crime is committed, because what they want to do is they want to blame some influencer for convincing people they're on the phone, meet me at the corner of Smith and Wesson, and we'll deal with this thing. The truth is that the people of this country are really upset, and they can't talk about it. And they can't talk about it now. They're being quelched.
Definitely, that's
quashed.
Quelched.
Quashed.
Yeah. No, quelched. Yeah.
Is that a word? They're being quashed. And so what can be done about it? I mean, they shouldn't be looking...
Again, are we conflating two things, though? Isn't it totally legal to say, I'm concerned about migration in a tweet, and it's illegal to say, let's all burn hotels, and that's what
Yes.
people have been arrested for.
It might be.
Yeah.
It might be illegal. Let's burn hotels.
But the law that they're arrested under, and charged under, rather, and the ones that have pled guilty, it's like a 1985 hate law, rather. So it's not about the internet. It's not this newfangled hate speech, because it's not even in yet until Ofcom's done its
You know what?
consultation.
People should be allowed to hate. I believe that they should be allowed to hate. They shouldn't be able to say, we're meeting at the corner, we're going to burn down the...
so you agree that you shouldn't? Yeah.
I agree with that. But for the police to go through the thing and search for these things, they'll know when it's being manipulated. They know. Right now, they're trying to blame the Russians. They're trying to blame Farage. They're trying to blame somebody. When the truth is, it's in the hearts of a lot of English. Why do I have to speak for the English people?
No, you don't.
And the
You're
British.
right, Adam.
No, I think you're right. This story was so close to being a good story, I think. I think if the title was...
What does that mean, a good
So listen, I'll tell you.
Okay.
So I think if the title was Specialist Police Hunt Social Media Influencers online, I would be like, I think this is a great policy. Let's just get rid of all social media influencers. They are the worst. Just above traffic wardens and estate agents. But because it's influencers, you're proving my point. But yeah, so I think if that was the case, I think nobody likes this. I think if I'm being serious about this, I think people who are saying we should all rally and set fire to random buildings, they're bad. People saying I'm concerned about mass immigration, that's okay. Then you've got the grey zone. If saying this is war, we should do something, but not specifying it, that's a bit of a grey zone. And obviously this is where it gets messy.
Exactly, it's a grey zone. And Starmer and those people have stuck their nose into it. I don't know how it can be stopped. It's right now. It's immigration, mass migration. The fact is a huge problem, and the fact that people don't think that they can talk about it.
Adam, the Sunday Telegraph, Keir Starmer isn't as popular as he used to be, so now would be a good time to call that election, Rishi. What, you did what?
Yes, exactly. So this is from the Sunday Telegraph. Starmer's popularity slumps after criticism of riots response. So Keir Starmer has suffered a sharp slump in popularity after criticism of his handling of the riots that have hit Britain. Now, I guess you could say this is, if anyone's spent any time online, you'll probably be familiar with the trending hashtag 2-tier Keir. And I think this is really interesting. There was always going to be an end to the honeymoon period, which he was voted in, and everyone was like, yeah, we kind of like him, but also we didn't have any other choice. And I think this was naturally going to happen anyway. And the way of which this has happened, because he's basically, he addressed the riots, but he didn't actually address some of the sentiment behind it, which is people are concerned about legitimate things. He just said anyone who's rioting is bad, and he didn't.
Yes, exactly.
And he didn't. And this has been his first real test of his leadership, I believe. And I think people have basically just seen the scale of the riots across the UK, and I think he's a bit sort of like. People want him to address concerns on the right, but he also needs to be tough on the protesters, which he wasn't, which is why this was allowed to be widespread across the country.
You need to be tough on the protesters. You need to be tough on people who are throwing stones.
Yes, the bad actors within protests. Correct. Yeah.
This Keir Starmer he's a bad man. He's a bad man. What he said he basically demonized the people who do not like that they feel their country is being taken over. And you know what? I'm part of that takeover. So I'm not going to say what my side is.
So this story is interesting because it's an opinion poll about popularity of politicians.
Yeah.
And the actual result is he's the most liked politician out of all of the ones surveyed. But obviously the Telegraph didn't go with that as the headline.
No.
Because he had a popularity rating.
Best of a bad bunch. Though.
Yeah, but his popularity rating went up and has gone back down to where it was before.
Yeah.
And that is still higher than everyone else. He's got a +5, whereas you got like a -30 for Rishi, -19 or something for Nigel Farage.
That is completely pointless statistic that you have.
Well, then why did you talk about this story up until the bit where I brought that in?
I don't know. What was the question you asked? I wasn't listening. No, the point is that everybody is hated. Meanwhile, some groups are going up, and the Conservatives are going down, and the rest are going down. So.
Anyway, Lewis, the Mail on Sunday claims that Tommy Robinson hates his own supporters, so he should get a job at The Guardian.
Yes, this is. I was in Tommy Robinson's inner circle. He hates his own supporters. Woman who worked for EDL founder claims he wanted to get as far away as possible from his army of fans. And this is this is not even news because everybody who works wants to get away from. I don't want. You know what it is? I see these people. They come to the show on a Sunday, right? They come to a show on a Sunday, and you know I'm very friendly, and then afterwards, not even afterwards, I'm with them, and I want to get the hell away from them, and that's just the way it is in work. I have no work. I saw my father working, and. It's basically they're looking to badmouth Tommy Robinson. I'm no big fan of the guy, and I shouldn't say anything nice about him, but he's in a really... I mean, who do you think is going to lead a position about anti-immigration in a country that's been trained to live like Americans?
Any take on this, Adam?
Yeah, there was a very interesting, quick sentence that this woman was describing him, saying, rather than hanging out with his army of fans after the protest, he just prefers to hide away at a pub for a vodka and Coke. And I just thought that was very demeaning. I thought it was very funny.
Is that demeaning?
I just saw vodka and Coke, just sitting there with a little vodka with a straw. Just not very...
Okay, yes, instead of saying having a beer.
Yeah, you know, like Nigel's all
see.
stickers with a pint and being strong. If you just sit with a vodka Coke...
It was demeaning.
It's emasculating.
But I saw a picture of the woman, and she's quite beautiful.
Of course, that's what we focus on. All right, that's it for part 2. But coming up, Elon Musk goes on a non-civil war. There's war on fake news and religion, which is probably also a war story. Details next.
Hello, welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. As we go through Sunday, it's going to be warm with plenty of sunshine, turning hotter even on Monday with the risk of some thunderstorms. Looking at the bigger picture, we had this waving front through today, bringing quite a lot of cloud, but high pressure will become more established as we go through Sunday. But back to tonight, we've still got a legacy of some cloud across parts of the southwest and definitely across parts of the English Channel too, but elsewhere, clear spells developing, any showers across Scotland generally fading, and under the clear skies, it will turn quite fresh in rural spots, but in the south, a quite muggy and uncomfortable night to come, with temperatures here holding up at 16 to 18 degrees. So through the start of Sunday morning then, plenty of sunshine first thing across parts of Scotland, still with the risk of this odd shower further towards the north. Across Northern Ireland, northern parts of England, plenty of sunshine, perhaps turning a bit hazy with some high level cloud. And then further towards the south, still quite a bit of cloud around, should stay largely dry, and as we go through the day, that cloud should start breaking up, lifting and moving back towards the coast, but there may just be some fog still lingering here. Elsewhere though, plenty of sunshine on offer, and it's going to be feeling warm and humid as well, especially in the south. We could see temperatures rising here, 27, possibly 29 degrees, but elsewhere even reaching up to 20 to 22 degrees. As we go through Monday, we've got low pressure dominating, bringing some heavy thundery rain northeastwards, affecting Northern Ireland and parts of Scotland, so expect some frequent lightning here. Elsewhere, largely dry, plenty of sunshine. It's going to be feeling hot and humid. In the south, we could see temperatures rising up to 32, possibly 33 degrees, and then turning fresher Tuesday and Wednesday.
If you want your news to be straight talking, this is a nightmare for the Conservatives. Again, down to earth. It's not just Nottingham where this is happening, is it? And most importantly, honest. Hard-working, middle-class taxpayers, they'll get their book thrown at them. They catch me, Martin Daubney, Monday to Friday, 3 till 6 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
I'm Ellie Costello, and thank you so much for joining us here on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
I'm Michelle Dewberry, and this is GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We're proud to be GB News, the People's Channel, and as you know, we always love to hear your views. Now, there's a new way of getting in touch with us at gbnews.com/yoursay. By commenting, you can be part of a live conversation and join our GB News community. You can even talk to me, Bev Turner, or any of the members of the GB News family.
Welcome back to Headliners. I'm Stephen Allen, still joined by Adam Kumas and Lewis Schaefer, and some news. And Lewis, to the Sunday Telegraph. Musk goes to war on advertisers. Imagine that.
Yes.
Let me finish the thing.
Oh, sorry. I'm so bad at this.
Telegraph, and Musk goes to war on advertisers. Imagine that. Having advertisers. This is my favourite one. It really fits here. It's the one place you could do that joke, man.
Can I just say something? Next time, just don't say my name. Don't say my name.
No, I say it right at the start so that you don't jump in straight after it. I deliberately put you over the start and then think, you know, how sentences work.
But you know what it is?
This is why you're in the third chair.
I know. I'm going to be out. There's going to be a fourth chair tomorrow. And anyway, this is Elon Musk. And he sees how Elon Musk dropped all pretense of civility to wage war on advertisers. He's not waging war on advertisers. They basically cut his advertising things. The same thing with us at GB News. You're watching GB News. We've got huge ratings, way more than Sky. We put Sky practically out of business. We're doing so well. People are paying attention to us, and nobody's advertising. Sainsbury's is not advertising.
Imagine if someone had a satirical take on that in the intro to this story. But I guess we'll never know what that's like now.
I wasn't listening to you. I was just so upset that
You're waiting for your turn to speak, weren't you?
You didn't even wait for it.
Yeah.
I didn't even wait. No, I know what you say is going to be funny, but that's why I don't have any respect for it.
Less funny when it's walked all over. Anyway, the point is... He did say some swearsy words, advertisers.
Yeah, he told the advertisers, but the point is this has to do with this Global Alliance for Responsible Media. It's basically a shill organization. Shill, I don't know what that word means. It's basically an organization.
Oh, you were good with the words earlier, weren't you?
It's basically an organization of advertisers so they can say, listen, Twitter or X is bad, GB News is bad. That's why we're not advertising in it. So that they don't have to make their own decision. They don't have to call up the ICE used to sell advertising space.
Yeah, back to the story.
Yeah. So he basically said, hey, you know, I mean, the fact is he's angry because he paid too much money from it. He comes from South Africa where there's freedom of the press is not quite as, maybe it's better than here, but it's still not good. And he's angry.
Adam,
we should be angry too.
Adam, I'm just being told a shill is something you use to quelch something. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, I mean, I think he did declare war because he did say now it's war. I am.
And he killed them. He killed this group called.
He declared. He didn't commit.
No, he killed them. They said we're not in business anymore.
Yes,
because he's suing them.
I am losing count the amount of time people saying now it's war. My Twitter feed is full of people declaring war on certain things, whether it's Argos or something else.
Because you're friends with Putin, that's why.
Thank you, yes. And I think, but he has been put under greater scrutiny, hasn't he? Because he's been he is a huge troll, which is part of quite admirable, despite running all these multiple businesses, being a very objectively intelligent person, but still finding the time to almost troll people on a daily basis, constantly. Yeah. He has been pulled up for retweeting some sort of some fake news, I think something about talking about detainment camps, which was a fake story. And this is true, though. Advertisers do not need to advertise with people if they don't need the drama. That is, as much as I might not agree with the advertisers not working with X, because maybe I agree with some of the things Elon says, they're not obliged to advertise with anyone. They will only advertise if they see the revenue.
But the drama comes from the oppressive... Team World people comes from Jeff. Yeah,
but they're not. And as much as I probably agree with some of the things that Elon says, he's not deserved ads. Advertisers are very fickle, famously with people.
Deserved ads.
You don't just get ads because you should, right?
Those companies are under no legal obligation.
That's absolutely
no legal obligation, but there is a war against.
Everyone's declaring war. You're right. Look, he's just done it again. It's non-stop.
Well, it's not a war. It's yes, they don't want to be bothered. But why don't they want to be bothered?
If he wants to move away from advertising, he basically needs to create a properly paid product. If everybody paid for Twitter and had the premium version, this would be a non-issue.
Well, a lot of people are paying. I give them 100 and something pounds.
Adam, the Mail on the Sunday, Olympic athletes in trouble for wearing political messages on her outfits. Who does she think she is? The Metropolitan Police?
So this is, from the Mail on Sunday, Olympic breaking athlete disqualified over her political outfit seconds into her routine, as she claims she wanted to show people what was possible. And the unfortunate thing, what was possible is that she'd get disqualified almost immediately. So very unfortunate. Now, this woman, very brave, Talash, real name Mansa Talas, she's a 21-year-old, and she was competing for the refugee team in Paris. And she was basically, her message was free Afghan women. And this was obviously a reference to Taliban's return to power in August 2021, which, as we probably know, has been very bad for women. Great time to be a man and to go over there if you do want to.
Good balance. Well.
Good balance, thank you. Now, what is very interesting, I'm very divided by this story. I told you this before, actually, Steve, off the air. I agree with this message 100% wholeheartedly. But I do think if the rules are you shouldn't be displaying political slogans, they probably do need to stand by that. Because I could be easily sitting here in this chair with a completely different political message that I'm not happy about and saying, well, that's disgusting, they shouldn't be doing that. So I need to sort of stand by my morals, and I think I have to take the side of the Taliban on this.
Wow.
I'm forced to.
The truth about this thing is that obviously the sport that she was in and the team that she was on is so inconsequential. She didn't care about losing her position in the next 4 years.
Yeah.
And the other side of it is this is kind of like when what's his name? When the Doors, when Jim Morrison's sang that song, and he was banned from the Ed Sullivan Show in America. And he just said, hey, I've been on the Ed Sullivan Show. That's all that matters. She's gotten way more publicity.
True.
It's made people think about the horribleness of Afghanistan. And, I say, if she was going, go Gaza, I might be upset. But because it was, I support.
And you didn't comment on her level of attractiveness. Look at that. You're growing as a person. You're growing as a person. Lewis, we better move on before you obviously do. The Sunday Times. Religion can bring people together to hate other people in other religions. Yes, this is one of those things in the Sunday Times about religions can move towards their duty of peace. It's all about how in Israel, inside Israel, there was a thing of Palestinians and Israelis getting together to talk about religion. And it's like a lie. They're not Palestinians in Israel. They're Israelis they're Arab Israelis. They might call themselves Palestinians, just as the Jews call themselves Palestinians before Israel was founded. This is a total non-story. Religion can be used for love or hate. And now it's a religion of hate. You're not going to stop a guy with a machete and saying, hey, I know your religion says this, but it also says
Yeah, you'll justify things,
People
whatever.
will justify things. Yeah. As like Rodney King says, can we just get what did he say? Can we just get along, Rodney?
When I read this story, it is interesting. I think it is true. Religions can move towards their duty of peace, but as we all know, it's quite often the opposite. I'm taken back to a great Jim Jeffries bit where he's talking about, he's criticising religion, and he's like saying, I believe in atheism because you'll never see a beheading video saying, in the name of nothing, and then does it. It's like, you would never see that. So
yes, you would. Of course you would. What do you think Keir Starmer's doing? They're a bunch of atheists.
All the beheadings that he's done.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why has that not been covered in the news? Sue Gray has been keeping it from me.
What do you think we've done in the Ukraine? It's a form of beheading. Yeah, you're not smacking the guy with a knife, but you're hitting.
But let's not conflate metaphorical beheading to actual beheading.
It's totally different.
This is a 5 a.m. show, I think, as well.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, people could be.
All right, Adam, to the Sunday Telegraph. Pupils to be taught to spot fake news. Yeah, 5 little ducks swimming one day. Yeah, right. That duck mother was a bad parent. Simple as.
So this is from the Sunday Telegraph. Schools to wage war on putrid fake news in anti-extremism crackdown. After the riots, pupils as young as 5 will be given the critical thinking skills to identify misinformation online. Now, this is very interesting because I've worked in schools before I started doing comedy. I used to work in schools with children of around the same age. And children as young as 5 struggle to use scissors. So I don't know if going at and trying to get them to know about what's true and what's not in critical thinking. I'd be happy if most 5-year-olds could just think rather than critically think.
Yeah. No, that's a very good point.
Thank you. I'm full of them. I think the idea of teaching children to critically think is very, very good. I think the idea to always ask questions, to always be aware of echo chambers. I don't know how you'd explain that to a child, but and also learning to look for evidence. These are core principles that maybe we should be telling children throughout their life. However, because it's now this anti-extremism crackdown, what this does lend itself to is, are we telling people to actually critically think, or are we just telling people these are the wrong things, and you should be believing in this?
What do you, Adam? What do you think they're saying? They're saying go kill white people. That's what they're saying. They're saying if your parents say this, maybe you should come and tell us so we can go after your parents. That's what this is all about. It's all about police state 101. This is how they do things. It's like when you That's how they do things. The end of the world is coming.
But the opposite of that is don't teach any critical thinking to anyone, or we don't want people critically thinking.
Yeah, that's also bad.
Well, do you want to know something? That's why there should not be public schools.
What's very interesting is that
whatever you call state-owned schools.
What's interesting?
It's the idea is that when I was younger, they were telling us how to build websites, and now we're telling us how to spot fake ones. So it's
very good. That's very
progress.
Good.
Yeah.
Are you the scruffy one? Somebody online calls one of us the scruffy one. Is that me?
No, it's you with the way you've tied that tie. Just the final section to go then. Up next, dancing, sex, and raising children. I can see how one leads to the other. Get the details next.
Sunday with Michael Portillo from 11, only on GB News.
The sunny spell that many have experienced this week makes this the perfect time to seek inspiration for fresh, beautiful food to fit the weather. Hannah Harley-Young from Crazy Sexy Food joins me once again for the latest in our Taste of Britain series. And to go alongside the return of the glorious sunshine, she recommends tequila.
To be honest with you, it's more about my total love of tequila. It is my favourite drink. I have my favourite cocktail ready to be shaked for you in a second, which is obviously the margarita. But I think also I just love this sort of general story of tequila. Tequila, a bit like with champagne, can only be produced in the region of Tequila in Mexico. But I've actually brought for you, interestingly, a brand that is London-based. This was set up by Tom and Jack. They were drinking, I think, in sort of 2018, 2019, somewhere in South London, and realised that tequila could actually be quite enjoyable.
Do you know what it's made of?
It is. It's made from the blue agave plant. Now, 300 million of these plants are harvested every year. It takes between 8 to 12 years to harvest. Their tequila is made to be drank with tonic, which is not your usual accompaniment with tequila. Usually it's lime, it's a margarita. With a Blanco tequila, the idea is that the process is that once it's distilled, that is the end, it's bottled and it's sold. This is the Reposado. I haven't actually opened that, but if you do want to have a smell, you can open it. But the idea behind this is that it's been rested, so it's rested in oak barrels. I actually love people's behaviour behind tequila now. I think back in the day it had a little slightly bad rep that you'd drink cheap shots and maybe make some bad mistakes on a night out, whereas now we're actually starting to appreciate it and respect it.
GB News, the People's Channel.
I'm Christopher Hope. From pop stars to politicians, I'll interview anybody in a pub who's got a political opinion. Join me every Friday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube or gbnews.com, or wherever you get your podcasts. This is GB News, the People's Channel.
Every Saturday, 10 till 12, we'll bring you all of the news that you need to know. We'll also remind you that there is so much to smile about.
It's my favourite time of the week. I get to relax, enjoy some light-hearted stories, and let Ellie teach me about fashion too.
That's Saturday Morning Live, every Saturday, 10 till 12.
Only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
It's true. You're not wrong. No one will be cancelled.
Lovely. Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to the final section of Headliners. Adam, to the Sun on Sunday. Have you seen the clip of the Olympic breakdancer? I thought I was watching another one of those videos of someone getting tasered.
Yeah, absolutely. This is from the Sun on Sunday. Breakdancer, like toddler, goes viral with Olympic fans cringing as they say most second-hand embarrassment ever. This was basically, it's a bit of a weird story, but the idea that the sport of breakdancing made its debut in the 2024 Paris Games was the only new addition this summer. So I didn't actually know. I didn't realise this was the first time it actually featured. And I think what's happened with this dance is a sort of real case to sort of maybe get rid of it for future ones. It was basically an Australian lady, Rachel Gunn, and she was Australian's top dancing breakdancer. And she basically was just doing the weirdest... Like, I don't even really watch breakdancing, and I couldn't tell you what great breakdancing was, but I watched the video and I thought, that's not breakdancing.
Yeah.
Someone just doing weird shuffles, like a lot of dad dancing.
2024 is a weird year to bring it in because 2024 is not in the 1980s when this would have been.
But even then, what do they call that when you steal someone's culture? It's
Cultural appropriation.
Cultural appropriation. That's what it is. It's not even my culture. It comes from the Bronx originally and New York. It's American and black people, and so it's horrible. I didn't watch this. It's not a sport. There's no ball involved or someone getting shot and die. There's nothing. It's not. I don't even know what the definition of a sport is.
Are you denying the 5 key fundamentals of how to judge breakdancing?
Yes.
Top rock, footwork, go downs, freezes, and power moves.
I'm not denying that.
What would your power move be, Lewis?
My power move. Well, it depends how attractive the people are.
Okay.
Okay.
Lewis, the Sunday Times, how do you write a good description of sex? I don't know if I've ever managed it, because no one ever replies to those DMs.
How to write sex scenes without making people cringe. And this is an article written by a woman who's a beautiful woman, and she's at home. I don't know.
Oh, he's got a new catchsitch now. Why did I?
Yeah, beautiful women love Louis Schaefer. Yeah. That's what I'm looking for. And she's writing about. She goes in. She's sitting at home. Her kids are napping for an hour or two. She goes to interview the neighbor across the way, who's a writer, and it's just the stupidest non-story ever. No one. People don't know this, but on the weekends, the newspapers are bigger and they got space. There's not as much news, so they have to have people like this write these huge, long articles and say basically. But I don't like sex.
But Adam, can we answer the question? What are the top tips? Maybe that's part of it. The top tips.
Without making how to write sex scenes without making people cringe. I think the answer is to not write them and just remove them.
Them.
Yeah, just I've never enjoyed watching a sex scene in a movie, because no matter who you're with, if you're watching it when you're younger and your parents in the room, it's really awkward. If you're watching it with a partner and you actually kind of like maybe think, oh, okay, maybe that person's quite attractive, you'll get in trouble for doing that as well. So it's a lose-lose situation. I think I prefer the directors like Guy Ritchie, who famously doesn't have sex scenes. Tarantino doesn't really have any sex scenes. And if you do want to really write sex scenes, just admit you want to write adult entertainment.
Yeah,
don't.
Because the truth is, if a woman loves you or if a man loves you, if a woman loves you, they're going to love having sex with you. If they don't love you, they're not going to like having sex.
And how does that pertain to movies?
It pertains to movies. If there's love in the move, I don't know.
No, you're right, it doesn't. Yeah, good point. Adam, the eye. There's that new trendy phrase of helicopter parenting, and yet we're the generation where our parents bought us a chopper.
Yeah, so this is from the eye. What happens when helicopter kids grow up or don't? And this is sort of talking a bit about what we're seeing, I guess, a little bit within my generation as well. You've got financial dependence and low self-esteem are just a few of the reasons why 30-something adults are still relying on their parents to solve their problems, finds Jennifer Seisland. I think nobody likes people who can't sort of fend for themselves. There's the insult of saying, that person, they're sort of breastfed into their adult life, or there is this idea of if you're constantly coddled as a child, you sort of lack the major skills you need as an adult, whether it's problem-solving skills, not allowing people to make mistakes and learn from them. We are probably all aware with the idea of victimhood and everyone saying, this is not my fault, not because of my own shortcomings, but because of a society working against me. I don't know. I think, is there some truth to this? Maybe. But also, we don't want to acknowledge. Shouldn't.
It's not a real story. You spend too much time thinking about it. It's not a real story. It's another one of these stories. A woman who wants to make a little money while her kids are, at home. It's like
she's a freelance writer.
She's a freelance writer. And say, I had a situation where some woman. I spoke to some woman, and her father came and started to yell at me, and so I make that an article. The truth is, every parent is worried about overdoing their kid or underdoing their kid. It's the question.
Have you done a good job? Would you say?
No, I have not done a good job. What do you think? I've done a good job.
Yeah,
of course, I haven't done a good job, but they're not. It could have been worse. That's the point. You have to look at these stories. Tomorrow is Sunday. There's going to be
tomorrow is Sunday.
Tomorrow is Sunday. Yeah. This is going to be in the eye. They got to.
Lewis, the Observer. Takeaway food isn't healthy. No. Does a takeaway eating bear struggle to poo in the woods?
Yeah, that's exactly true. But the woman would still rather be with the bear than with the guy. That's it.
Nice throwback to a few months ago.
Yeah. Nobody knows what I'm talking about. Anyway, more than 75% of popular takeaway and restaurant food is unhealthy, the study finds. This is in The Observer. And they're saying salt, protein, salt, sugar, too big of portions are making food. The truth is, it's based on government guidelines, which are always wrong. It's based on the health beliefs.
So you're saying takeaway food is healthy?
I'm saying
That's what it sounds like.
all, not 75% of it. 100% of every bit of takeaway food is. The only food
100% is more than 75%.
Yes, I'm not saying none of it is healthy. I'm saying it's that all of it. The only thing that's healthy, there's nothing you can get that's healthy. I mean, eggs, you can go to a cafe and get eggs, but they're cooking it in horrible oils. And
yeah. Adam, any take on this story?
Yeah, I think I just wanted to add saying that 99%. No, I think you're right. I just wanted to add that saying 99% of cigarettes also adversely affect sort of health.
Nice.
So any other sort of like.
Do you know what I heard? I heard that only 7 to 10%, something like that, of the people who smoke cigarettes get lung cancer. So it's not like cigarette smoking is that.
Only 7.
Are you in the pocket of big tobacco?
I might be.
70%. Only
7%. Look that up. It's a very interesting statistic. And so cigarette. I'm not.
Is that what we should be teaching our kids?
You shouldn't smoke because it causes.
No, you shouldn't smoke, but all takeaways are healthy for you. Was your takeaway?
No, because cigarettes are actually much more dangerous than just getting cancer.
So don't eat those either.
And you can get them delivered now with Deliveroo.
Well, sadly, as much as that's the dietary information from the show that we wanted today, the show's nearly over. So let's take another quick look at Sunday's front pages. The Sunday Telegraph goes with schools to wage war on putrid fake news. The Mail on Sunday, security chiefs, PM kept in dark by aide Sue Gray. The Observer, riots will set back efforts to rebuild our broken justice system, warns Minister. The iNews says Reeves eyes fuel duty hike in budget, but voters are opposed, yeah. The Sunday Times, rioters face 10-year terms, warns CPS boss. Star on Sunday, I saw the ghost of Lemmy riding a horse and eating a ghost pizza. That's all we've got time for. Thank you to my guests Adam Kumas and Lewis Schaefer. We're back tomorrow at 11 p.m, where some other people will be doing this. If you're watching at 5, stay tuned for breakfast and have yourself a good one.
That warm feeling inside from Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News. Hello, welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. As we go through Sunday, it's going to be warm with plenty of sunshine, turning hotter even on Monday with the risk of some thunderstorms. Looking at the bigger picture, we had this waving front through today, bringing quite a lot of cloud, but high pressure will become more established as we go through Sunday. But back to tonight, we've still got a legacy of some cloud across parts of the southwest and definitely across parts of the English Channel too, but elsewhere, clear spells developing, any showers across Scotland generally fading, and under the clear skies it will turn quite fresh in rural spots, but in the south a quite muggy and uncomfortable night to come, with temperatures here holding up at 16 to 18 degrees. So through the start of Sunday morning then, plenty of sunshine first thing across parts of Scotland, still with the risk of this odd shower further towards the north. Across Northern Ireland, northern parts of England, plenty of sunshine, perhaps turning a bit hazy with some high level cloud. And then further towards the south, there's still quite a bit of cloud around, should stay largely dry, and as we go through the day, that cloud should start breaking up, lifting and moving back towards the coast, but there may just be some fog still lingering here. Elsewhere though, plenty of sunshine on offer, and it's going to be feeling warm and humid as well, especially in the south. We could see temperatures rising here, 27, possibly 29 degrees, but elsewhere even reaching up to 20 to 22 degrees. As we go through Monday, we've got low pressure dominating, bringing some heavy thundery rain northeastwards, affecting Northern Ireland and parts of Scotland, so expect some frequent lightning here. Elsewhere, largely dry, plenty of sunshine. It's going to be feeling hot and humid. In the south, we could see temperatures rising up to 32, possibly 33 degrees, and then turning fresher Tuesday and Wednesday. A brighter outlook with Box Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
You really really could become the next giveaway winner, with your chance to win £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend on anything you like. Listen to what some of our previous winners have to say about winning big with us.
Hi, my name's Victoria. I won the Spring Great British giveaway. So the day we got the money in our bank account, everything just felt just a lot nicer. We went out for dinner, just enter. And you never expect to win, but I did.
Get your entry in now. For another chance to win £30,000 in tax-free cash, text CASH to 63232. Text costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. You can enter online at gbnews.com/win. Entries cost £2. Or post your name and number to GB07, PO Box 8690, Derby, DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 5 p.m. on the 30th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Welcome to State of the Nation, daily plunge into the stories shaping our country. I'm Jacob Rees-Mogg, and Monday to Thursday we bring you the insights, the facts, the truth about how our country is being governed. Because what happens in Downing Street matters down your street. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Camilla Tominey, for a frank and honest discussion with those in power that cuts through the spin and gets to the heart of the issues shaping our nation.
You haven't confirmed that you want to stand as leader, but you haven't ruled it out either.
This report basically says that he's not fit to stand trial. Is he indecisive? Incompetent? I deliver the dose of reality Westminster needs. That's the Camilla Tominey Show at 9:30 every Sunday on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi there, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and I'm going to take a second to tell you all about my show, Dubes & Co. We start off with the issues of the day. We then bring in both sides of the arguments. We get rid of the disrespect. And then you throw me into the mix. And trust me, I'll tell it exactly how it is. And then, of course, the magic ingredient, you at home. We mix it all together, and what have we got? In my opinion, the best debate show in town. Monday to Friday, 6 till 7 on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good afternoon, Britain.
Your lunchtime update on the stories that matter across the UK.
From breaking news and insightful analysis, inspiring stories and lively debates. You're comparing yourself to a former Prime Minister.
Which is it?
Stay informed, stay updated, stay entertained.
I just don't know how anyone would not want to be there.
Every weekday from midday.
We are Good Afternoon Britain, only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
It's Saturday night, and this is the Saturday 5. I'm Darren Grimes, along with Alex Armstrong, Eunice Sadagiani, Claire Pearsall, and Benjamin Butterworth. Tonight on the show.
Does Katie Price highlight the hypocrisy of celebrity?
Starmer's Orwellian nightmare begins.
Britain has betrayed its working class boys.
Is Elon Musk now the official opposition to the Labour government?
And Britain's so rude, sandwich sellers need spy cams.
It's 6 p.m, and this is the Saturday 5. Welcome to the Saturday 5 with me, Darren Grimes. I'm back in the hot seat after a little break.